Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the third panel of the first day of Nextv Series Europe and CEE. For this particular session, hosted by Media Distillery, we are going to talk about the key role played by images to help viewers choosing content quicker, enabling TV operators to enhance viewing time and engagement among the customers. But first, let me welcome our guests today. I'm joined by Roland Sart, CEO at Media Distillery, and Ivor Mikalev, Director Entertainment Products at Telenet in Belgium. So gentlemen, hello, and thank you for being with us today. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, your responsibilities, and give us a short overview of your company's activities. So maybe let's start with Ivor.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Ivor Mikalev, working for Telenet for the last almost 9 years now. And yeah, I'm responsible within entertainment for partnerships as well as our commercial strategy.
Thanks. Roland?
Yeah, so I'm Roland Sart, and I'm the CEO of Media Distillery, which is a software company that applies AI to video to understand every video and every video segment to enhance the user experience. And I'm mostly responsible for the commercial part of the company. So thanks for having me today, Guillaume.
Yeah, sure. First, I would also like to remind our attendees and viewers that they can ask us questions using the chat box, and we'll make sure to address them either right away or to take some time at the end of the panel. But first, before diving into the details of your collaboration together and how Media Distillery was able to help Telenet, maybe let's keep it at a market level first, because usually we know that the most important components of a consumer's choice to subscribe to a platform are content, price, and UX. So I'd like to hear from you both on how UX has become important and among all the components of UX, especially visuals and pictures.
Yeah, so you're right, Guillaume. We also identify those three components, so the price, the content, but especially the UX as the most important factor for a consumer to choose a certain video platform for watching content. And well, content is obviously a very important element, but content in most platforms is quite okay. Some platforms offer more VOD content, are more focused on broadcast, are more on sports, but across the board, every platform has its own specialty and its own good quality of content. Price is obviously an important element, but you see nowadays that I believe the average household has, I believe, 3.2 video subscriptions. So I think that's more or less the level nowadays that people are willing to spend money at. But UX is increasingly important, and with the rise of large OTT platforms as Disney+, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and such like, we see that the bar in terms of UX is being raised drastically in the past 5 years. And this also means that consumers nowadays are expecting traditional players or other video platforms to also offer their content, which they were used to watch linearly or in a different shape or form. But they're expecting that content also to be offered in a video platform with the same high level of UX. And this is where we actually come into play as Media Distillery. We have different products, but today we'll be talking mostly about Image Distillery, which has been launched recently by Telenet. And a reason a good way of illustrating the importance of it was a research done by Enscreen Media, Colin Dixon, 2 years ago, whereby he researched the behavior of, let's say, the viewing behavior of consumers in 3 different countries. And he actually found out that 3 out of 5, and for younger generations, even 4 out of 5 consumers, they said that choosing what content to watch is mostly being done by the appealingness of visuals. So having very visually attracting visuals to represent video content with in a video platform tends to be like 60 to 80% of the decision making of consumers. Well, and that was actually for us one of the most important reasons to think like, hey, this is actually something where we can add value with our technology. So we're also very happy that we're currently live with Telenet.
Yeah, Ivor, since you're the one here that has a direct relationship with consumers, do you want to jump on what Roland just said?
Yeah, sure. I can, of course, very much agree with what Roland is saying. And traditionally, from telco point of view, because Roland has been saying that with the launch of services like Netflix and Amazon, if we take even some years back from telco perspective, our UIs have very much been heavy text-oriented UIs. We always had a lot of EPGs with a lot of text information, which was at that point the way how we brought customers information and make them decide. But indeed, the rise of the internet and the immense choice that started to surface more and more in the last years, consumers are relying more and more on visual representation to make their choices, because it's impossible to read every synopsis of every piece of information. And we've adapted this as well in our UIs and how we've presented content. Over the last years, we have completely redesigned our interfaces to cater for that need and put visuals more central to the choice process and the content discovery process.
Okay, yeah, because that's where I wanted to go, because if we try to apply this market level analysis to the specific case of Telenet, like in the last years, what was the problem for you guys, and where did you feel a need to ask for help, like to Media Distillery, to enhance your UX and your engagement with consumers?
Yeah. So as any cable operator that is on this conference, you can imagine, with having around 300 linear channels on our offering, it has always been a very hard task to get all of these players to deliver good quality metadata. And there's various reasons for this. Some partners don't have enough budgets. Some don't have the right focus for our markets. Some have a whole legacy of a chain where they're not getting the content that they're needing, which is resulting in a huge range of content for us, where we have a lot of gaps of really being able to present content in a decent way, in a way that customers can understand what's in a program, what's in the show, for them to make the choice. Because of this, we had very limited influence on what we can do, because we rely on our content partners to deliver this metadata for us. When Roland first reached out to us and pitched this idea, which we kind of at the time felt it was a little bit too futuristic and too theoretical, but nevertheless, from a concept point of view, we were immediately bought in, because we know we have a lot of gaps in terms of presenting the content. So if we could do something about it, we're all ears to see what we can do. But once this idea came on the table, we didn't want to make it easy for Roland and his team, because we started thinking about it more and more, and our expectations started to get more sharp and more concrete on what we expected, because it kind of made us realize that not having an image is maybe better than having a bad image. So if you would show something that is really awful or really useless, then maybe better to not have an image at all. So we went through a very nice and detailed process of identifying how we would want these images to work. We wanted, for example, that we would prefer to have images of people and faces, not of a window or of a door. If we would look at taking a screenshot, we definitely don't want to end up in a commercial break where maybe we will be promoting a brand and not the content itself. And then even how you take faces, we wanted to make sure that people have eyes open, because it's a very unpleasant view if you have someone with eyes closed as an image to make you inspired that you want to choose that program to watch. So yeah, we started to increase our expectations and demands, and went through a very nice exploration progress and process with Roland and the team to find a solution for us.
Okay. And Roland, since Ivor and his team didn't want to make it easy for you, how did you overcome, and how usually you help your clients, should it be TV operators or OTTs, to implement what they want, and how you advise them in the specific case of Telenet?
Yeah, so, and I do remember that we started pitching this idea to Ivor and his team at Telenet, and it was firstly perceived as a bit, well, futuristic or a bit too far ahead, but that also gave us the time to really think this through and to think like, okay, how could we create this product from, at that time it was just like ideas on a PowerPoint slide, but really make it into something that really adds value. And we did extensive testing with Telenet, so we did a proof of concept, whereby we thought like, okay, let's really go down to the roots of the problem with what Telenet, but maybe also other operators are facing at the moment, and that is either, well, not having images at all for certain broadcasters, or having repetitive images. So if you have a program or a series or a talk show or whatever it is that is being broadcasted 5 days a week, and it has the same title every day, and it has the same stock image every day, this is not visually very appealing. So as a consumer, you don't know what is in that particular episode that you might be interested in to watch. So we thought, okay, every image should be unique, and every image should be, well, as much as possible explanatory of the content that you are about to watch. It should be kind of a sneak preview inside the content that is behind the image or behind the thumbnail. So, well, as I mentioned in introduction, Media Distillery is a company that analyzes video based on artificial intelligence. So what we are basically doing, we are analyzing from all the video streams, all the broadcast channels. We are just grabbing images every second, and then we actually start looking for which image from a particular part of content would be the best. Well, as I've already mentioned, well, first you want to look inside the program, so not in the commercial break before, or not in the commercial break after, or in between. Well, and in the case with Telenet, we also have another product live with them, which identifies the exact start and end times of a particular program. So for us, it was quite easy to make sure that we are selecting images from the program itself. And then second, well, the first step that we technically do is we just throw away every image that doesn't meet our needs, or that is not, let's say, doesn't have a high enough quality. So that might be any image with a black screen, or any image that is blurry, like with motion blur, every dark image, or with way too bright image, so visually not appealing, aesthetically not appealing enough. Well, and that already well, leaves just a lot less images than all the images we select on forehand. And then we actually start selecting items that we do want. And as I've already explained a bit, one of the items is, for example, we would like to have people in the screen. And this can be one person or multiple persons, can even be preferred, but also with their eyes open, looking into the camera, so not from the side or something like that. And we also look for screens or for, let's say, images that, for example, don't have subtitling or don't have any, let's say, text overlays like announcements for the next program coming up, or any of those elements. Another element is that we also look into the positioning in the screen. So ideally you want to have the rule of thirds applied. So the person in the screen should be at the right position, not all the way at the top or on the left or right or anything like that. So all of these algorithms, all of these selection criteria are basically running at the same time, simultaneously in real time. So basically during the broadcast of a program, automatically the video analysis machine that we have running is grabbing all these images and is selecting in real time, like, okay, which image would work best or not. And from that, well, we also, as last step, have like a relevance mechanism, whereby we look again, okay, what is the aesthetically most nice image. Therefore, we have done quite a lot of testing with thousands of images, which were being ranked by a different audience, whereby the machine learned, okay, these kind of images are being appreciated more by consumers than others. Then, as a last step, we actually make sure that we crop an image. So, for example, we want to crop out any channel logo from the left or right top, because if in the replay or in the video platform, this channel logo is being inserted again, you might create a logo conflict, and that's what you want to prevent. So by cropping it out, that leaves enough space to edit in nicely after again. We also want to crop out any subtitles if there are any burnt in subtitles in the visual. And lastly, we might also make images available for different platforms, for an iPad or for a tablet or smartphone or for the big screen. So you can use it as backdrop or you can use it as a thumbnail. And actually, one element that I didn't mention yet is that we might also see, like, okay, who's the most frequent appearing person in this program? So in case of a talk show, that will obviously be the presenter, but there might also be other types of content, like documentaries or series or real life TV or sports or anything like that. And we can actually configure, like, okay, do we want the most appearing person as an image? So then actually you do have an important character or important presenter from the program in the image, and not just a person that happens to walk by and is visually very nicely on the screen. And that's the image then actually that gets a higher ranking by our algorithms. But in some cases, like in case of a talk show, you don't want to have the presenter, because then still you have, like, every day of the week the same image from the presenter. So in that case, you might just fall back to the second or third most appearing person. So yeah, all of this leads to, well, a top 1 or a top 3 of images that, well, we basically give back to Telenet, saying, okay, these are the images that we propose you to implement. And in terms of Telenet, we're doing this in real time. So over 3,000 images are being generated every day, completely automatic. So there is no person or no editors involved in the process. So it also shows that it's quite a scalable solution.
Okay, and now if we go back to Image Distillery, a very innovative product you recently launched, maybe from Evo perspective, what was the challenge you faced, and how did you solve them among your collaboration for this product?
Well, a few of the steps that I just explained were actually, well, if I just explain them now in a few minutes, they sound very easy. But if you, I've heard quite some challenges come by in our product team and in development teams. One of them is, for example, the cropping of images. So an image might be very nice looking, but once you start cropping out the left top or the right top because of the channel logo, or the bottom because of the overlays or the subtitles, image might not be that nice anymore. Somebody's head might be cut off, or the face might be cut in half, or anything like that. So that basically made us to redesign the whole relevant engine again, and to put the cropping a bit earlier on in the process, to make sure well, we didn't select images and we created the top 5. Then we started cropping and said, like, oh, now they're all not usable anymore. but also the process of deciding what image is aesthetically nice, because image might look nice by a computer, but then still, if you look at it, you say like, yeah, I wouldn't personally have chosen this image. And that's why we did a very extensive user test by actually learning the machine what makes an image look nice. And this has to do with color saturation, not too much colors, not too bright colors, but just enough colors, enough contrast, and all that kind of elements. So yeah, every step actually had its challenges, but these are two important ones that stood out to me.
We got already only 10 minutes left. Time is flying. I still want to remind our viewers that they feel free to ask a question in the chat box on Swapcard. Ivor, now if we try to go towards the future, what kind of trends and evolution do you see coming forward for you in terms of UX and in terms of relationship with your consumers, and what to expect from you in the near future?
Yeah, I'll give that a shot. I think, well, maybe starting with the obvious ones, but of course, an important role that I think we will need to play in the future is becoming more and more personalized towards our customers, because our role as aggregators and bringing different content sources together is definitely there at the center of becoming more relevant for the individual in the household. So I do see us working more on personalization capabilities that we can increase the relevance of why consumers will consider to pay for our services. And that in itself has a ripple effect on a couple of elements. I think becoming more granular in the content discovery is going to become key, where it's not just about the program, but maybe it's about a specific scene or a specific moment or a specific person in a program that I'm a fan of, or I remember seeing in a movie and I want to see in which show he or she participated as well. So I think that type of granular content discovery is going to become more appealing and more central to us as telco. And maybe finally, I think as well, becoming more lean back and serving customers an experience. So proactive from our side, so that the customer has a more of a lean back experience, that we want to serve them more and more easily content that they will be interested in and want to see at that specific moment. So in summary, then, to shorten the discovery journey, I think that will be quite an important evolution in the future.
Okay, Roland, because now we've focused on visual, but of course you provide also different tools to your clients. And since there is more and more video platforms and that are fighting for the eyeballs, like what different tools can you provide, and how you can make sure to offer to your clients the best solution to.
Yeah, it's in line with what Ivor said, at least in terms of the most important trends that we are seeing with operators in the market, which is personalization and aggregation. So aggregation obviously makes that, or let's say, results in having more and more content in one central platform, which is great for a consumer, because maybe in the future there will not be the need anymore to have 3 or 4 different video apps or platforms running, but just one. But that also increases the complexity of content discovery, and to making sure that you can actually find the content that is in a database or in a certain video platform available. And then, well, we believe with Media Distillery, and that's also the things that we're working on, this personalization aspect comes, well, as a first step. It might be the next phase of Image Distillery that I explained. One of the next version of the product, we're looking into also like personalizing these images. So we can obviously create visually very attractive images, but the next step might be that we also create appealing images that look different for different people. So man and wife, or people with demographic criteria, or from geographic different regions will see different images, because it's more proven proven to be more visually appealing, or more, let's say, shows for more conversion if you show different images to different people. And another element that we are looking much into, we call it ourselves topic distillery, is to make sure that consumers can actually follow different topics, and a topic can be as broad as you can think of. It can be the name of a person, or a city, or an event, or just a theme. It can be like politics, or the recent election, or the latest situation in Israel at the moment, or a European Championship coming up. Any of that aspects, what consumers might be interested to follow across different sources of content. So meaning that, let's say, if you say, well, I'm a fan of Formula One, for example, and I'm interested to hear anything about Formula One, whether it's a documentary that is being shown on Netflix, if that's one of the aggregated services in the platform, or whether that's an interview with a Formula One driver, which was on a broadcast channel, or an in-depth interview in a podcast, which we might also all analyze in the same aggregated platform. Basically, for a consumer, you can follow that kind of elements, irrespective of, let's say, what the original source of the content might be. And this results, we're doing the first elaborate test there, and are now moving into consumer tests. And well, the first results already show that consumers are very much in favor of this trend, because it shows content that they didn't know was in the platform before. Consumers are, well, up to maybe 10 or 5 years ago, really up to speed on, let's say, what broadcast channel was airing what program, what was in it, and what time did it start, and what time of the day, what day of the week. But nowadays, they're more interested in certain elements. And once you can identify that, and the consumer can identify those topics themselves, or somebody can actually, or the algorithm can actually determine those kind of topics for a consumer by just determining or analyzing viewing behavior, we might be able to create a personalized dashboard or a personalized home screen for the consumer with videos or content of his or her liking, basically.
Okay, so we got only 2 minutes left, so maybe just a quick last comment from both of you, and especially because the title of this session was a picture says more than 1,000 words, and I was curious about what if the words are actually said with, because we talk more and more about voice control, especially with the previous panel. So I just wanted to have your take on that.
I think, yeah, we're talking about pictures as 1,000 words, but I think very soon we'll start talking about video ubiquitous everywhere. We will bring back the words with the picture, and I think we will evolve also with video in general. And I think it's very obvious that what we're just discussing now, that our role as telcos is not just done yet, and there is a lot of untapped potential that we still can explore. Okay,
Roland, any final word?
Oh yeah, I think the title explains it a bit, and it's also the trend of voice-based search is exactly in line with the content discovery journey that we're planning to see in the coming years, whereby it's easier for consumers to search on a lot more than just a certain channel or a certain name of a program. So yeah, that's described by the vision and the trends that we're seeing.
Indeed. Well, Roland and Ivor, thank you for your time. And I'll let the viewers feel free to reach out, of course, to any of you if they have more questions or that we didn't have time to overview. From our side, we'll be back at 11:45 for another panel with Monique to get more insights about free-to-air broadcaster strategies. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.